Good afternoon, everyone. How are you? Welcome to H&D Abroad. I am Herman. D is on the way. It's good to see everybody here today. We welcome you, as always, to H&D Abroad. Good to see everybody here in the chat already jumping in, ready to go for our conversation today. It is a beautiful Saturday here in August. Don't get to say that much here in the South. Usually it's still burning hot, but it's actually been a great week this week. So we are excited, happy to have you all here. Here at H&D Abroad, for those of you who don't know us, my beautiful wife, Dee, and I, we are sharing our journey to move abroad. It's a big deal. And we're doing it in real time, which means we haven't moved. We haven't even completely nailed down a place yet. But in this process, we are working on building up our health, increasing our generational wealth. And we do that through research and through this great community that you are. We have had a wonderful time building this community, getting to know you all. As we learn about this journey, we've been sharing and learning and experiencing, changing our minds, reevaluating our process. And a large part of that is due to our interaction with you. If you are new to our page, we ask that you would, first of all that you are here right now, that you would like this video, like all the videos. Just go through and click them all. We need them all. If you're new, subscribe to our channel. Share this video and this page with others, because we really want to build this community about moving abroad as people of color. And hit the notification bell, because first and foremost, we want you to be able to know when we are going live. We don't want to wait for, YouTube's algorithm to decide we're in a good conversation or not. We want you to be available. We want to be available to you because you are a part of our community. So that's a good start for today. We'll start off by giving shout outs, of course, to everybody here in the chat so far. I see Miss Tanya Brooks. Good to see you, Tanya. How are you? Hey, Nikki, good to see you today. I see Kimmy Apple. Hi, Kimmy. Good to see you all the way from Texas. Know it's warm over there. Sam at Black Women Build Wealth. If you haven't checked out some of these people, all of these people have pages. So check out Sam with Black Women Build Wealth. Man, my tongue is messed up today. Sabongale, how you doing? We don't retire, we ascend. Y'all check out Sabongale's page. Checking out the other side of retirement, and she is doing things like she's 20 years old. When I grow up, girl, when I grow up. Of course, Nikki and David, it's a wonderful travel life. We've had them on our page several times, as well as the other ladies in the group. Subscribe to that channel. Good to see you, fam. Butterfly Effect. How are you today? Good to see you. All right. So it is always great to have you all here. Yeah, it's not funny, girl. You're doing big things. When I grow up, I'm telling you. While we're waiting for Dee to come in, we'll kind of prop you up for today's conversation. First of all, I took some time to watch the Democratic National Convention this week. And if there was ever a party, there was a party over there at the DNC. Hey, multifaceted me, how you doing? Good to see you. They had big time DJs, the old school music. They had great people speaking. It was an energetic, moving party. And it was really energized by seeing the Democratic Party be energetic about something. It's been a long time since I've seen that party invest in more of a collaborative process towards what they were doing and who they were with. And so, we just energied up. The Star is Born. There she is. Y'all say hello to the
Hello.
And good to see you, darling. How are you today?
Thank you, dear.
All right. As everybody who's been with us a while knows, Dee is on a house sit. She didn't run away from me. She's not somewhere else. I didn't lose yet. I'm still fighting the good fight, but she is coming home to me soon.
Yes.
Just getting warmed up on the conversation, talking about the energy of what we saw in the DNC, the Democratic National Convention this week. You're gonna have to talk for me today. My mouth is all
That's okay, because I
jacked up. But that energy, that hope, that joy, as they talked about a lot, has been a motivator for what has been the conversation moving forward for a lot of us as people of color in the United States.
well, I want to invite those that are do not align themselves with a party at all or the Democratic Party. All of us have decisions to make around, do you vote and then who you vote for. And I think it should be a reflective process. Um,
we are not guiding your vote.
I take it for granted that, that a lot of people are in decision because, or I should say, I don't take it for granted that people should recognize they do have a decision to make, and that is a deeply personal decision. But does what's happening politically impact your daily life? That is something, as I'm coaching people, in their move abroad process, I'm asking, what are the things that are happening around you, socially, politically, within your family? How are those things? Do those things impact you on a deeply personal, everyday level? And I would argue, especially at the local level, yes, we are talking about the national, presidential election. But y'all, if you all are not paying attention to those down ballot issues, a lot of these legislatures are putting voting rights laws, voting process laws. If you've seen what's happened in Georgia, if you do not vote in 2 election cycles, you are taken off the rolls. And so even if you have registered to vote, you are deactivated as a voter. And so what you need to do is be paying attention what's happening locally, what's happening in your state. And these elections, not just during the November. I mean, we're electing school board members and, state justice, judicial people, in addition to congressmen and, House of Representatives, the Senate, and the president. So we have a lot of decisions, and there's a lot. Is this political process giving you hope around? Is it giving you hope, or is it becoming a distraction? And I think when I presented this topic to H this week, I've wondered if a lot of people have taken their foot off the gas of I need to move, because there was a lot of I need to move because of who might be in the White House. And I'm like, okay, so after the last convention, are people saying there's so much hope, there's so much joy here? I don't want to either miss out on that, or it has taken the threat, the sense of danger, the sense of discontent, if that is something that you had identified as your why, has what has happened over the last month with the RNC and the DNC conventions. where are you now? Let's talk about it.
A large part of what we have discussed on this channel over the last year and a half that we have had the honor of doing this has been the impact of this country on people of color, and how that has affected those of us who are considering moving abroad. And I think one of the challenges that we face often as people of color is that we feel these moments of, we might be able to do better. We might be able to get it right. This might be a time for us to be able to claim and do. And don't misunderstand me. I would never dispel that hope. This is still the country of my birth. I am an American, no matter where I am, whether I want to be or not. The world is going to tell me I'm an American, and the responsibility I take to this country, no matter where I am, whether I'm in the States or outside the States, is very important. It's why we have encouraged, whether you are still in the States or you live abroad, at this election cycle, vote. We do not direct in any direction on our channel, because our bigger hope is that you vote.
How you engage the political process at whatever comfort level, interest level, because not being involved is right. Even moving outside the US, people are going to be making decisions that may still impact your life, your access to, passports, as long as you are a US citizen, you are impacted by what happens in the States.
Absolutely.
Maybe not at the same degree, but you are impacted. And so just like you would any other process that involves you, you wouldn't allow someone to tell you what to do or invade into your life without you checking them or checking them out. And we're asking folks to do that. We want to make sure if you are traveling, because this group, our community has people who travel often. If you know you're going to be away, there's a possibility that you are not going to be in the States on November 5th. Please learn what your absentee or your early voting options are for your states. There are ways, and we will add, if we did not add them, we will add them to today's description for this video, how to go and check your state, put your state's name and then state department. Okay. The State Department, usually within your state, includes that. If somebody knows how you can check, but I think it's the Board of Registrars also is where you will probably ultimately go, and you can put in some personal details about you and find out where your polling location is, y'all. If you have looked at this before, or not, because we've moved 1, 2, 3 times in the last 8 years. And so we've had to figure out where our polling location is. Our polling, even though our address didn't change, our polling location changed. And so you get those cards in the mail, keep them, and take it with you when you go to vote.
That's very important. And I'll use a personal example. At our last presidential vote, I showed up to the polling place that was sent to us with the registration card, and I got there and they didn't have me on the list. I was not on the list of registration. As a matter of fact, I've already decided I will be checking on my registration this week, because it is important.
It's in the box. It's in the box, right?
Trust me, I know you have it, but I will be calling down there to make sure the information is correct and in place, because that's important. Okay.
Y'all take unexpired government issued ID with you.
Yeah.
Um,
So in this conversation, we want to ask you in this conversation, because again, this is a conversation, to delve in to let us know what your process is or will be in terms of whether or not you've moved or are planning to move. Yeah.
in a lot of countries, Election Day is a holiday. We know that is not the case here. And so folks have to, if you know, I will have difficulty. I might be too tired at the end of the day. I remember in 2008, when we went to vote, that was a 2-hour wait. We kept our kids out of school. Because the public school system had a delayed start so that families could take their children to the polls with them. So many parents had said that they knew kids would not show up to school on time. And that was the first time our kids stood in line with us. This year, and I'm a little weepy as a mom, this is the first year that all 5 members of our family are voting together. And we're going to step out of the election brings you joy and the move abroad conversation to have a very specific and focused part to talk about preparing yourself and your family members, people you care about that are in your sphere of influence, how to prepare for voting. If you are abroad, and y'all, I'm going to make sure on the community post, we're going to go back today. Did y'all know that Democrats abroad have 21 delegates, voting delegates for the Democratic Party. I did not remember seeing that at the RNC roll call, but I saw it in the Democratic roll call. You have representatives going to the conventions. And so your representation is going forward, whether you are on board or not.
All right. So let's throw in a couple of comments that we have here. Butterfly Effect put in, the track record for both parties raises issues for me as it relates to empowering historically marginalized groups, particularly Black Americans. This is absolutely true.
And the homeless. There's a gentleman talking about, let's see, his nonprofit just recently released a book called White Poverty. At first, I wasn't going to listen to it because I was like, why is this priest of mixed heritage talking about this book about white poverty? But what he's saying is the population of people that are marginalized due to their income and all of the inequalities that go with that are a huge untapped, and frankly, what he said was apathetic group of people who say nobody sees us, nobody cares. And I hear a lot of people, a lot of Black people, a lot of marginalized people saying, I'm tired of voting for people, standing up for people who do not ultimately stand with the issues that impact my daily life, that impact things like me feeling safe, which is driving me out of the US, the education system. If I can't count on my legislators to see my body as mine and to protect my relationship with my doctor, why am I excited, hopeful in an election that is not going to serve me well?
When Obama was elected in 2008, there were a lot of people in the middle of their Amistad moment. Their freedom was coming. And I believe that that Obama did some amazing things in office, but his priority was not to raise the Black people. And I think that we need to take perspective on politics is about what those in power see as best for the country. And that's not always technically what might be best for those of us who are the country. I worked at a university as one of the premier chefs in the cafeteria. Because it was my alma mater, it was important to me that I worked to create meals that were better than when Dee and I were students there. Okay, that were thoughtful, that were impactful, that were healthy, that were nutritious and delicious, and often had to battle with staff and faculty and visitors who said, they didn't like that we didn't have this or we had that, or certain meals that we were serving. And I had to remind them that they were not my priority. My priority was who the university was, and that is the students. And often we get lost in the fact that the people are not the country, that those in power, those in government are the country. And it is misleading because when it's time to have us vote for them, they shout out all the things that you want to hear. They have us stand behind them. They have us stand beside them. They have us speak for us. And then we don't see, and I'm just talking about the people in general, not just people of color, but the people in general. And it's not that those areas do not see some level of touch points or impact. And it is not to be expected that they're going to hit everything that you find important. That is unrealistic. It is unrealistic to expect a teacher with a class of 25 students to be able to individually hit every student. And those who do are a special kind of teacher, but that is a rarity because what they are to provide to the class is not going to hit every student. And therefore, as a community, we invest bigger into each class, into the classes that our children are a part of, not just our children, because we recognize that as a community, we do more. In this process, I think those two things really translate to how are we involved in our communities, and not expecting Big Daddy to fix it.
I completely agree. I'm scrolling through the comments because what I feel like is we look to the president, the governor, to make an impact on my daily life, like the things that are around us. A lot of people are saying my life looks different than what I felt like I had available to me under the last president. Part of me says, did you realize we were in a pandemic? Do you realize we were headed into a pandemic with the last president? We lived most of our lives in the throes of a pandemic with the current president. Where are we placing our hope? Where are we placing? Because I think what happens is if you have attached your emotions, if your motivation for your move abroad is tacked to someone doing something or making a person standing in front of an audience saying, I will provide this solution for you. And they don't. Where does hope go? Where does it go? Then do you blame them? Do you say you disappointed me? You didn't fulfill? I was like, come on now. The president is not Santa Claus.
Too often I believe that we vote tickets and not issues. And because we vote tickets, I don't I worry that we don't push our lawmakers hard enough on the areas of issues. They can voice them, they can state them, then they can technically renege on them because you already gave them the power to do whatever they're going to do later down the road. In this move abroad process, what is your motivation today for moving abroad or not moving abroad? Has anybody decided, well, maybe I'll slow down my process because things might get better? If your chosen candidate wins, will you feel more comfortable slowing your process towards moving abroad? Has anybody considered moving back?
Baby, Tanya Brooks is with me regardless. Let the record show. Oh, I'm sorry. What did she say? Let me be clear.
Yeah.
That is
Looky
that
here.
is Pamela's thing. Let me be clear. Regardless of who is in office, me and mine.
Yeah. Because
it's gotta make sense to your life. The pressure. Marissa Price is in the comments. My toxic job is not necessarily going to improve. My coworkers are not necessarily going to get better or things go down the toilet because of who's in the White House. Mm-hmm. Now, there are some implications because I watched a few people get a little freer. I heard a few people get a little freer, depending on who was in office. But if that is your motivation, then is that going to have a direct up or down improvement? There was fear. What I was hearing was if this particular party is in office, then the economy, my life, everything is are they impacting your ability to earn money? Are they impacting your ability to move freely in the world? If they are, then we got to deal with that. If not, if you can find a way to make a way for your dreams, your hopes for travel, living abroad temporarily, living between the US and somewhere else, or never coming back, you have to make a decision. And it definitely should not be because of elected officials. But I'm telling y'all, who was it? Oh, I'm trying to go back down here. Who said a lot of people are saying all races are local, all elections, those that matter most are local. And so those local decisions, oh yes, it was Greta. That's where I was trying to get to. Can I bring a, what do you call that? An accessory dwelling onto my property? So that I can generate a little bit of income that's going to get me out the door. Or I live in the accessory dwelling, which happens in a lot of places, and I rent out my house. And that's going to earn me enough money to pay my mortgage and have a savings and give me somewhere that if I need to drop back in, it's available to me. But if you're not paying attention to local zoning, okay, if you're not paying attention to how business is being conducted and the requirements for that, then you're missing. You could miss something very, very important. These are people who set the tax rates. Mm-hmm. These are the people who say zoning, who is allowed, businesses that are allowed to come in, the kinds of businesses that are brought into an area. You all have seen, if you driving in certain neighborhoods, there are payday loans, more of them, stores that sell alcohol. I was about to say liquor stores.
That's what they are. That's what it is.
Stores, there are more payday loan places, and in other neighborhoods, they are not as visible or abundant. Those are laws. Hey, the proliferation of rental subdivisions
I was gonna go there.
impacts how well you'll be able to sell your house and what you can your home prices. Y'all pay attention. Please pay attention.
Prioritizing is important, okay? Because when your priorities are set about what it is you want to do, then the surrounding changes of circumstances don't change your priorities. Evelyn makes a good point here. You can have hope wherever you are because you choose, because your reasons for moving, if that is your choice, are based on what is better for you. You've heard me say, and I will repeat, I'm not asking or encouraging anybody to move. This sharing our experience is, even though a part of our buy is to help people of color see moving abroad as a plan A, we're not trying to force you to move abroad because that's not for everybody.
No, but
if you want to do it,
that little blue passport, if you're a U.S. citizen, I don't know, Sam, what color the Canadian passport is, but y'all, I mean, I'm saying it. Options.
We want you to have
options. If this process doesn't do anything, our channel doesn't do anything, it should give you reasons for why having a passport can serve you in so many different ways. If I can get out the door, then I can put some distance between what's happening, even if I can't even if I choose not to disconnect myself from it.
And this is important. Regardless of how you feel about what's happening on either side of the ballot, vote. I have admittedly voted when I felt I was voting the lesser of two evils. But my choices are to vote or not vote, and not voting is not a choice.
Yo, my mama still asks me, "Did you vote today?" Yeah, I'm over 50. I am over the age 50. And my mama, I better say, and now she's saying, "Did you all and the kids vote?" I have a responsibility to someone who marched in Birmingham, Alabama, as one of the foot soldiers. Those were the children of the civil rights movement, to my grandfather, who was pictured with his identity masked as one of the protection crew with his rifle. He was featured in Jet magazine because when civil rights leaders came to Birmingham, they needed to have their homes protected, the homes where they were staying in protected 24 hours a day. That is my family legacy. Baby, I'm not dropping the ball on that because I can't find a candidate that checks all my boxes. I appreciated hearing that during this past convention. Is election officials are flawed, not fraud, flawed. Okay. And so I cannot place all my hope into that. Just like I can't place all my hope. I'm not a one stock person. If y'all have heard Sandra from Lack to Legacy on our channel, you've heard D, Brown Girls Invest Too, diversification. How are you diversifying what is influencing your move abroad so that one decision isn't making you press the gas or another put on the brakes because it's looking a little better for me here now because I see something, hope, joy, whatever messaging is coming out, that that is what is the I've put that on the conveyor belt that's moving me forward or not.
And do not procrastinate. Okay. The time between now and November 5th is short. I know because my birthday is a couple of days before that. The time between now and then is short. And you may not have what they have in Canada. You're not going to have 3 hours of off time. You're not going to have it as a holiday. Plan for your time to go and vote. If that means you got to be there at 5 o'clock in the morning on that day so that you have time to stand in line and get there and get to work, do what you need to do. If you need to dedicate your lunch hour, if you need to take some PTO time, dedicate some time so that you make sure you do that. Oh, there was another statement here. Oh, Kimmy said earlier, vote early if you can. So that if there's something that needs to be corrected, you have time to try to adjust that or fix that, because once you're on the day of, you're there.
And as we get closer, pay attention to those deadlines. So if you've got a mail-in ballot, I heard one state say that they have complete mail-in ballots. Like everybody has that as a possibility. Find out what is available to you and keep up with it. So if y'all are talking about having a mail-in ballot, I'm over 50. I keep stamps with me. Yes, I kick it way old school. If you don't have no stamps, go get some stamps. So that's not the reason you don't mail in your ballot on time. Put a timer. Set your calendar reminders to make sure that you request. There are deadlines for requesting a ballot to be sent to you, and there's a deadline for you to turn it in. If you are abroad, and we talked about that last Thursday on this channel, and we listed out all of the organizations. If you are abroad, you need to follow the requirements for requesting your ballot to come to you from your state registrar or election board. And you can go to your embassy and drop it off. They have a secure way of receiving U.S. citizen ballots. So find out what is available to you. We will drop those again, all of those links. There's Republicans overseas, Democrats abroad. The State Department has information. If you follow them on Instagram, more of their messages since the Olympics have been your embassy. This is one of the services. Collecting your ballot is one of the services. They will not give you a ballot. So find out what is available to you in those timelines so that you don't go through all that effort and have it disregarded.
I'm going to tell you from personal experience. You putting stuff in the mail can run slow. Earlier this week, our local post office ran out of stamps. And you're talking about at a time when few people send things with mail with stamps. Which means that the post office isn't always prepared to have what you need. Work ahead of time. I repeat, my local post office, which covers several zip codes, ran out of stamps earlier this week. Be on your game because the game is real.
Oh, yeah.
Who's in office does not determine your happiness. That's a whole word, Sabangale. That's a whole word. And the fear and hope and that Marissa. Yeah. Because you have to decide everybody who is going to be in office, whether you voted for them or not, is going to be impactful on your future and the future of your family. And if you have children, the future of your children.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This will be not only the first time all 5 of us will be voting, it will be the first time that we're not all voting in the same place. So my encouragement to my children is going to be, because they got to go on their own to their own places.
No, they're still at the house.
Okay, I take your word for it, because I don't know what
I checked
adjustment.
because mama checked. Mama checked, and everybody's driver's license says everybody's driver's license. Y'all, I mean, it was I felt responsible. I'll say it that way. I felt responsible for making sure that all of our kids registered to vote. My mother, on my 18th birthday, took me downtown Birmingham and took me to the courthouse to register to vote. And I've done that with each of our children. It is a day to celebrate, a day to talk about our family and the responsibility. Our daughter was I mean, what, 2 months ago, maybe she sat with Herman and was really in angst about, I don't know who to vote for. She said, because I don't see where someone isn't hurting someone with the possible choices for election. Young people are not inspired. And so just like making sure that they could vote, and making sure that everybody's passports were up to date and that they had one and that they were up to date. That's my mom responsibility.
Our daughter has an activist heart. So seeing the world safe is a big deal to her. There are a lot of things I know that she still doesn't understand about, the power plays and the politics. So the innocence of her heart is still fresh. And it is my desire to protect that for her and not direct her, but direct her in the process on how to know what to look for. Sharing more than just vote for this person, vote for this party. What are you looking for? Who talks to that? What is being done? What do you feel needs to be done involved in it? That child has been to the rallies. She's been to the marches. You hear me?
During the pandemic.
I am proud of her. And but she is also influenced by what she hears when she's listening online and all the things that impact and so the people who are hurting that she watches hurts her. And sometimes it's beyond the base foundation of what's the bigger issue, and trying to encourage her without squelching her passion and her energy is a delicate line to play, because it's a game I feel that our government is already playing with us when we watch them online. And I don't want to be a party to the fear, the pushing, the shoving that will direct any of my children's thoughts and how they choose. I don't care if they vote like I vote. I don't care if they vote for who I vote for. I don't even ask them. I mean, because I want them to have the personal space to say, I made these decisions and this is what I feel comfortable with. And if they decide that decision didn't work out for them, that they know how to choose differently down the road. I totally feel this.
Yeah.
I'd rather know where you are than to find out because it's coming down on me out of surprise.
If for no other reason, people are saying, at least I know, at least I am aware. But I figure if you're telling me that this is what you're telling me, and whether it is smoke and mirrors, somebody mentioned that, or this is an actual executed plan that they are, that's being put in play. I'm saying, what is your plan? Are you detailed? Have you checked not only what's happening in your country? Somebody put in the comments, what's going on politically in the country you're talking about going to? Just because you don't hear about it doesn't mean things aren't going on the ground. I listened, y'all know I love Spain, and I've been listening more to a diverse group of both expats and trying to skill up on my Spanish language skills to understand what's happening around workers and labor in the country that I'm going to. Somebody was saying that's why they won't go long term in Italy. They're just like, look, it feel like every other day somebody's striking, somebody is. I was like, but so you should be paying attention to both. But y'all, I want to caveat that with, if you are in someone else's country, you are a guest.
Halo.
Your visa, unless you are a citizen, you are not voting. So anything other than citizenship, you are welcome to be empathetic on the inside. Marching can put you in jeopardy of losing your residency. Participating in civil disobedience because you feel that that is in support of, you are a guest. Please remember that, and govern yourselves as though at any point someone can say you no longer have the right to be here. So protect it.
All right. So despite hope, Tasheen is saying she's moving regardless.
Hey.
Hope didn't change in the process.
Yes, me and my black body. Absolutely.
Greta?
Absolutely.
I have a right, I have a responsibility to vote because of what happened in her family.
Yes.
Okay. Tanya's parents marched. I mean, you cannot. These are things you have to reconsider as your responsibilities. What is our plan? Evelyn is coming back to the States to make sure she votes.
Hey, okay, so that was something that we asked in the We Out community was, are you planning to, vote absentee? And more people are saying that they're coming home because if there is a possibility of contesting votes, I'm not here to conspiracy theory. I'm not saying that this happens everywhere, but I feel like if you're not voting in person, proving that you have shown up, that you are where you're supposed to be, I feel like my ballot could be questioned. And so what periphery, see what evidence there is for that. If you can be here, I know Adelia Aborshade, Peaky Girl Travels the World, says she gets on a plane to come back to Texas to vote. Vera, that we interviewed, is coming back to vote in Georgia. She said that's one of the states that it kicks people off the rolls. She was like, look, my children, we're all going to go vote. Y'all, just it is a time when voter protection is on the ballot, but voter protections are slipping. And so definitely being aware of that. All right, Marilyn. Welcome, Marilyn.
Yeah, regardless of your age, regardless of your status, regardless of your history, it is your responsibility, and to make time for it. Yeah, and we have to be mindful about what to do. Okay, because our democracy is at stake, regardless of where you live.
Yes.
Okay, regardless of where you live, because the politics affect you around the world.
Right.
Affect you around the world. Absolutely. We need to educate our young people not only about the issues, but the character of the candidates, because it's more than just how do I feel about it? What is happening here? What information is being provided here? Debate class isn't taught in school anymore. Critical thinking, as my father has been saying for the last 30 plus years, isn't encouraged in school anymore. And so it's just there's a lot of emotion in choice, in choosing. and information and facts.
Yeah.
Just because somebody stands up there and says, you know, these are lies, and what do they call it? What's the thing that he shouts all the time? False news. Just because somebody says it's false news on either side doesn't make it false news. Do the homework. Our kids, oh man, they were so angry with us when they were young because we told them they couldn't use Wikipedia as a resource site. It's not that it does not have solid information, but you're talking about independent individuals inputting information. It was the cliff notes. I tell you how old we are right there. It is the cliff notes of information online. Do the research, do the reading, and not only that, take some time.
Ask the questions. Go to the rallies.
But also listen to what the other side of your viewpoint is saying, because sometimes you need to hear what you were the process in which they're coming towards the information. Sometimes you'll find out you're exactly feel like you feel. Yes, I disagree with that. Sometimes you'll learn that what you were told they were saying is not what they were trying to say. It's like standing on, opposite the person who's important to you, having an argument, and they said, I don't like A, B, and C, and you heard, I don't like you. That's not what they said.
Right.
That's how you felt. Okay. And take the time to do the research in the whole process and not just where you like something. Because sometimes that gives you information about what's going to be coming your way. And sometimes it gives you information about how you need to take a step back and rethink where you are.
Well, we're hopeful that this discussion about, what brings you hope, what might be distracting around the election. I'm hoping that it was helpful to people to process it, to think about, what dotted line am I drawing from, whether it's the national election or local election? How am I drawing a dotted line between my process, my goals, and how things are shifting or changing? Who is allowed to impact your foot on the gas or your foot on the brake? And we've been having those discussions just last week, telling other people, who are they allowed the brake or the gas, or you just smiling and waving as you drive on by? Keeping those things sharply in view, but also recognizing I have a responsibility to pay attention. Mm-hmm. When I've noticed, as we've got a lot of our friends that have moved abroad, and trying to stay encouraged that it will be our time. It'll be our time soon. But to watch and see what they are paying attention to and how they're paying attention to it. Andrea, that we went to Morocco with, I was like, how did they stay? I was a little what do you call that? Sleep drunk. Staying up past midnight, and I know they are in Portugal. How did they stay up? But when you need to know, you will invest the time. Don't not pay attention.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
they used to say, and unfortunately they still say, if you want to keep something from Black folks, put it in a book. Educate yourself. Educate those around you. Become a part of your community where you reach out to educate others. I think too often we've lost some of the activism that is community building. Well, I told my friends, I told my family, but sometimes, a sign in the yard, we D laughs and shakes her head at me because I spend a lot of time. I struggle with thumbnail statements for these talks because I want it to be something that makes you go, huh? But at the same time, I don't want it to be something that makes you. And we talked about a lot. We work hard to not put out information that we think will create fear, anxiety, doubt, negative emotions. Oh, trust me, they work. People respond to them. It's clickbait. It happens everywhere. But I also think thoughts of encouragement, well said, well placed, will also draw people to ask you questions. Buy a t-shirt that said, I voted and you should vote too. This is our country. We work together. I'm on your side, even if we disagree. Whatever, but create conversations. Let's stop avoiding what may feel like uncomfortable conversations, because those lack of conversations then give other people voice to have the conversations for us. And they dictate what is being said. They dictate what is being understood. They dictate, and then we are not sheep. I'm not a sheep.
That's a t-shirt. There you go. That's a t-shirt right there. We are not sheep.
There's no wool and lambs and bad hair. Okay, not here. And making informed decisions. I stand around across from people and have conversations that make me sometimes want to. You just said,
I know what? Exactly who you're talking about.
What did you just say to me out loud with a straight face? But those conversations inform me to how they are being informed and how they are viewing the world, either by choice or by how information is being trickled to them. It's easy to just say, I'm gonna avoid them, I'm gonna make a wide berth, and I'm gonna avoid this person because they're gonna make me angry. When Trump first came on the scene, I spent a lot of time turning the radio off, turning the TV off. That was ignorant. Because if I don't hear what you're saying, then I'm not prepared for what you said. Okay. There's some information here from Maryland.
Yes. Find some thing that cross sections a lot. It's not just what's actually happening, people's perceptions of where we're going to be. Y'all do not feel responsible for explaining the US politics to people. But I have to say, before corporate HR, I worked in a nonprofit in community outreach. And the idea of being able to intersect information, bringing information to where people are, was something that I learned to get better at. And what I'm asking folks to do is find passive ways, if that works for your personality or your talent, to be able to invite people to consider voting. One of the, so whether that was with my church, where I went to the Board of Elections office, ask for some voter registration cards, and put them in the lobby of our church. Had created a little sign and said, have you registered to vote? Take one. And we pre-stamped them so that people could just fill it out, pull it off the tear, and put it in the mailbox on their way out of church. You can do that in the break room of your job. Put those those voter registration forms and think about it. I mean, at least for my job, we get a lot of people from all over the country who are new to our area. That little shorthand could be helpful to them being ready to vote or to think about voting. That's not anything politically connected. I'm not trying to influence anyone. You can also do that desk side. If you're in a cubicle, you can tack up a little sign that says, have you registered to vote? Take one. People are, the way that politics is today, people are afraid to venture at all into political conversation. And I understand. People feelings hurt.
Yeah. Greta said something important.
I'm telling you, don't come for me. Don't come for me. Don't come for me in my personal beliefs. But I believe everyone should have their rights, their right to vote protected, and to be able to vote their passion. I'm going to say this because I've worked with incarcerated populations. If you have had your voting rights taken because of a prior incarceration, get on the path to restoring your right to vote. In many states, not all, the process can be lengthy. Many times you have to petition the governor. But it is your full right to partake of the political discourse. You are a citizen. If they can take my tax money,
I can vote.
I should have my voting rights restored. And
Correct.
so there are organizations that help you file those petitions, follow up. Sometimes it can take months. Sometimes it can take well over that, because there is concern that the more people that are registered to vote may sway the electorate. And so we have to be the hands, the feet of democracy, not the political candidates. Okay. And so I encourage folk to diversify, the media that they're watching, so that you can see if it comes in direct contrast. Yes, I occasionally watch The Daily Show. I occasionally tap into Fox News. If y'all have not watched Pete Buttigieg deflect some of those questions, it's highly informative, entertaining, if you may. But what I'm hoping that folks see is that you cannot address the happenings on hearsay. It's like, most people, we are encouraging you to take a scouting trip, because everybody's going to talk about how beautiful this country, this city, okay? And there are some amazing things that you can do with filters and with, what do they call them? The fishbowl lens, to make a room that's 2 by 2 look like it is, a beautiful space. Be in that place. Be able to make a decision because of things that you have heard. Now, you're not going to catch me at everybody rally. Okay. You're not. But I can learn about a political candidate in other ways as well. So I think, yes, Pete is a G on Fox News for sure. So I am what I'm joyful about is that I have the option, I have the opportunity, and that regardless of who's in the White House, I know who's in the driver's seat of my future, our future. And I hope that you affirm your why, to continue to align with that, and put the distractions or the chance of hope or joy or whatever in perspective of those goals. So
we encourage the hope. We encourage the joy. As people, as citizens, we encourage a thoughtful, mindful,
respectful,
and researched process for yourself and for those with whom you come in contact with, not just the people who live in your house, but the people you come in contact with. Because the protection of democracy is our primary responsibility, our primary goal. And we can disagree and thrive, but we cannot thrive if we are not informed on what we are disagreeing about. And we will continue to, I feel, disintegrate as a company if we fight on lack of information and facts, on lack of sharing and thoughtful debate with one another. Please prepare. If you have not registered to vote, please register to vote. If you're planning to vote or you are thinking about not voting, scratch that. Vote. Wherever you vote, however you vote, wherever you are in the world. We encourage this because this is a process that should be met by you and everyone else who has the opportunity to do so. Encourage others to vote because this is an important election, as they all are. Get to know what's going on in your local community and environments election-wise.
If you know anyone over the age of 60, 65, check in with them. Do you have a way to the polls? Y'all, even if you are abroad, you can send an Uber to somebody to take them, and then you can send that Uber to pick them up and take them back home. There are numerous ways that we can be an advocate for folks that are in our circle of love and influence, to give them the opportunity to do what is their right to do, but also to support it because we know that they may struggle at different points. Our kids probably would not have wanted to stand in the long lines that we've stood in, but we've made it worth it. I mean, we went to breakfast after. I mean, if I have to bait, if I have to bait them with, hey, you're standing in line for a reason. We're going to get in and get out. Our hope is that this is a safe experience for everyone, and that you feel that your vote matters. It may not sway. It may not turn your state from blue to red. It may not purpleize your life in any way, from that larger perspective. But I can tell you, I look back and I honor my dad's parents that grew up in Mississippi, and my dad, my dad, my mom, my grandparents, my aunts and uncles. I honor them by engaging in this way because from an ancestral standpoint, look, I've been given this right and this privilege that they fought for with blood. Literal blood. And so it is my responsibility. However you contextualize your privilege to vote, we ask you to prepare to do so, being a well-informed citizen.
That's going to be my t-shirt right there. Multifaceted me.
Yes.
My t-shirt.
And Come on, somebody. Come on, make the t-shirts and publicize it now.
We are H&D Abroad. It's always an honor to have you all with us in the conversation. If you are coming on from the future, hit hashtag replay.
Yes.
Give us some comments and thoughts in that, because we always continue that conversation in the comment section after we leave the live.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to enjoy some of this unusually cool Southern weather.
Yes.
And y'all be blessed on this Saturday.
Absolutely.
We're H&D Abroad. I'm Herman. It's the beautiful D. We'll see you back together in this space, the two of us, on next week.
Yes, we're going to catch up with our friends in Japan. The time is going to be a little different, so check the community post. We'll see y'all next Saturday morning. Bye.